My name is Jordan Blake, and I never imagined that my past would come back to haunt me in the most extreme way possible. Not in a text message, not in an email, not in a random chance encounter, but on a remote island with $100,000 on the line and my worst enemy as my only companion. It all started with a notification. Do you dare to survive 30 days with your greatest enemy for $100,000? At first, I laughed. Me? Survive with Ethan Cross? The guy who humiliated me in front of the entire school, stole my project, and made sure I never got the recognition I deserved? No way. But then, I saw it differently. This wasn't just a challenge. This was my one chance to make him pay and to win. I signed up. Day 1. The arrival. The helicopter dropped me onto a tiny, desolate island, surrounded by endless turquoise water and jagged cliffs. The supply crate thumped onto the sand, containing basic survival gear, food for the first 48 hours, and a countdown board flashing 30 days in red. And then I saw him. Ethan Cross, my nemesis, standing there with a smug grin that made my blood boil. "Well, look who's brave enough to show up," he said, folding his arms. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. His presence alone brought back every memory of the humiliation he had caused me, every time he had embarrassed me in front of teachers, friends, and even my own family. The rules were simple. Survive, don't quit, last person standing wins $100,000. But rules, I realized quickly, weren't my only concern. I had to survive him. Day 3. The mind game begins. By the third day, it was clear that Ethan had grown cocky. He strutted around the island like he owned it, grabbing food, building the fire, and trying to assert dominance over every decision. I didn't confront him directly. That would be foolish. Instead, I observed. I listened. Every little weakness, every twitch of impatience, every sign of arrogance, I cataloged it. And then I started my plan. I would not attack him physically or verbally. I would let the environment and his own ego do the work. I would manipulate, subtly, the things he relied on: the fire, the water, the supplies. Little accidents that seemed like chance, but were really my careful orchestration. I watched him grow frustrated. Day 10. The first fracture. "Why does it always burn?" Ethan snapped at the campfire, throwing a piece of half-cooked fish onto the sand. I shrugged innocently. Maybe it's the wind? He glared, trying to suppress his frustration. He was starting to doubt himself. I could see it in the way his hands shook slightly when trying to tie knots, the way he double-checked everything I did. The subtle satisfaction of control coursed through me. This was revenge the way I wanted it: calculated, clean, and unstoppable. Day 10. The confession. The island's nights were the hardest: cold, dark, and suffocating, with only the sounds of crashing waves and distant thunder. On the 10th night, after a grueling day under the scorching sun, Ethan finally let something slip. "You know, I hated you back then," he confessed suddenly, while staring at the fire. I froze. This was it. This was the confession I dreamed of hearing for years. But I couldn't let it stop me. My mission wasn't forgiveness, it was victory. I smiled faintly. "Interesting," I said. "And you think this proves anything?" He looked at me, unsure if I was mocking or amused. That uncertainty? Priceless. Day 15. The breaking point. By day 15, Ethan was exhausted. The island was unforgiving. Sunburned, dehydrated, frustrated, and sleep-deprived, he started making mistakes. I subtly nudged him further. I accidentally mismanaged the water supply, misplaced the firewood, and suggested alternate paths that seemed logical but added extra effort for him. Every little misstep broke his confidence. His arrogance evaporated into paranoia. Every glare he threw at me was silently celebrated in my mind. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to threaten. I just stayed calm, collected, VIP in my approach. He was unraveling himself. Day 20. The silence. By the 20th day, Ethan's voice had lost its usual confidence. He mumbled complaints, blamed himself, and often sat quietly staring at the horizon. And I, silent and focused, continued to thrive. I learned to fish, maintain the fire, and ration supplies efficiently. Survival was as much mental as physical, and I had mastered both. The silent revenge was working. Day 25. The decision. It was the 25th day, only 5 days to go. Ethan finally approached me with deceit in his eyes. I don't know if I can finish this, he said, voice trembling. It's not about the money anymore. It's everything. I looked him straight in the eye. Sometimes winning isn't about money. Sometimes it's about proving who you are. You can quit if you want, but that's your choice. He stared at me, conflicted. Every ounce of bravado drained. That night, he didn't sleep. He replayed every mistake, every choice, every subtle sabotage I had orchestrated. He couldn't beat me. Day 29. The victory. On the 29th day, Ethan finally walked to the camera and pressed the red button. I quit, he said. The loud alarm echoed across the island. I had won $100,000. But more than that, I had won closure. I had won revenge. Ethan walked past me, silently defeated. No words, no apology, just his own realization of failure. And I smiled, quietly, coldly, perfectly. Day 30. The helicopter ride home. The helicopter came for me the next morning. I climbed aboard, feeling every ounce of triumph. The money was great, yes, but the feeling of outsmarting the person who had once dominated my life? Priceless. From that day forward, I knew. Revenge isn't about anger. It isn't about rage. It's about strategy, patience, and winning quietly while they destroy themselves. My name is Jordan Blake, and if you ever cross me, I'll be ready.